But here, somebody seems to be connecting to audio. Is that maybe a non-councilman? Okay, thank you, whoever pressed record.
That was me.
We're
You good now?
okay. Yeah, we're good.
It's not working for whatever reason.
Let's
Okay.
just, that's okay. Let's give Jennifer Holm just a minute. I don't see her yet.
Can somebody refresh me on where the button is to raise a hand?
That would
Sure.
be under React, and you can raise your hand in reactions. There's underneath that on the bottom.
Oh, yes, I see that and raise a hand. Yes, thank you very much.
Go ahead and test it, Joe, if you want to.
Uh, how's that? Do you see it?
Yes,
Yep.
you got it. Yeah, very good.
Outstanding. Thank you very much.
Oops. No, I got to turn them off.
All kinds of reaction. Let's see. Is Todd Lampert here? No? Oh, there he is. Okay.
Yes.
And just Jennifer. It's just 4:30. There is, I wonder if that's her. Oh no, that's who is, oh, that's Ira. Okay, I see Ira. Welcome. I see Laura Dice and Peter Barheit. Who's on iPhone 83? If you'd be kind enough to identify yourself. Is that Karen Burke? And I'm going to
I have
also ask,
asked 83 to unmute.
yeah. Why am I
Hi.
echoing?
83 is Christina Ross.
Oh, hi, Christina. Welcome. Okay. Well, let's get the meeting started here. Hopefully Jennifer will join us. We don't have minutes to review today, but good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. There's Chris Labrie just joined. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Town of New Canaan Charter Revision Commission special meeting. Today is Wednesday, March 25th. It's 4:30 p.m. And we'd like to open the meeting with a roll call. Secretary Jameson, please.
Very good. Mr. Case,
Present.
Miss Corbett,
Here.
Miss Holm. Oh, yes, she's here, but maybe she could just say so.
Just signing
Yeah.
on, just in time.
Yep, great. Miss Jameson, present. Mr. Kimes,
Present.
Mr. Lampert,
Present.
Mr. Labris,
Here.
Miss Neville, Mr. Palo,
Here.
Mr. Perrett,
Present.
Miss Willett.
Here.
Okay, so we don't have Karen Burke, but maybe she'll be joining us later.
Karen, she just left, so she's probably, we just finished.
No, the other Karen, the
Okay.
the
All right.
admin.
Yeah, Angela, I believe that Karen Burke said that she was unable to do it today.
Okay.
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 So we're recording, I believe. Yes, we are. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll have to, well, I'll help you with those minutes.
Oh, I can do the minutes. That's not a problem.
All right, great. Very good. Okay, everyone. Well, welcome back 24 hours later. Thank you, everyone, for your input. I have received, and I know Group 3 just finished a meeting, so thank you for staying with us for most of the day here. And we are going to take back up a number of the items that we addressed yesterday, and hopefully we have time for some new ones. We also received some comments, just recently received some comments. I want to just, because I don't know that we'll get to talking about the town treasurer and the town clerk, but I just want to reference something that was posted by Commissioner Palo regarding a letter that was written 10 years ago. And it was from one of our former commissioners. It was about the role of town clerk. And it was in response to some communication by two other members of the Charter Revision Commission 10 years ago. We're not publishing that information. In fact, we're not going back to the charter. That material is all available, by the way, I believe, in some sort of storage unit. But that material from 10 years ago, we're not reposting everybody's comments back and forth. And to post just one person's comments is a little bit outside of the norm, particularly because we don't have the balance of what happened 10 years ago. So I kindly ask you will take it with respect to Judge Kimes, who published that 10 years ago. We published it 10 years ago, but it absolutely does not reflect the communications that we're receiving currently. And so while I appreciate Commissioner Pallow's interest in this topic, again, it doesn't show the balance of what that original letter was meant to comment on with respect to earlier work done 10 years ago. So I'm just going to leave it at that. We can take that up again when we address the subject of the town clerk. But as of now, I just want you to be mindful of what we were posting up into the public packet. Okay, Mr. Pallow, you have a comment.
Do I understand correctly that you have instructed Sal not to publish, not to put that in the packet? Is that correct?
I said nothing to Sal.
No, I'm sorry. So what I asked to be put in the public packet was put in the public packet.
I have no idea. I didn't look at the public packet, but I didn't say anything to Sal. My question was directed to you, Joe.
Okay, then I will deal with the letter when we get to the town clerk.
Very good. Okay. Thank you. Bill Perrette?
Kathleen, I just, so what is the timeline in which we can go back to history? I mean, we were talking the other day about lawsuits that are 6 years old. And I mean, I didn't realize that we had a date by which we can only gather and use information and date by which we can only put things in a public record. None of the things I read that I put through that screen. So just wondering why this particular letter, which I read, this morning, why that is being singled out as something. It's the first time I've heard that in 4 months.
So the reason I'm singling that out, and I'm not suggesting it needs to be taken down or what have you, I'm asking you, somebody is not on mute, and I am echoing. Haven't figured that out from whom.
Keep an eye on it.
I beg your pardon?
I said I'll keep an eye on it and see which one trips.
Okay. As you heard me say earlier, Bill, this was a document that was written in response to someone else's information. We're not putting that up. And I caution everybody to be, mindful of when we put in data from 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 1935, doesn't matter. We go all the way back. But just think about the context in which something is submitted. It wasn't submitted to us now, although I do understand that Judge Kimes agreed to have it sent, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate his work. But in the context of what that letter was written, it was specifically addressing something that was submitted by Commissioner Hunt and Commissioner Young at the time, and we're not putting that information in. We could go on and on. That information is available, doesn't have to be reposted to our information. You understand that?
My attitude was that, as you had said a number of times, when we ask people for their opinions, we shouldn't filter it.
Correct. And we didn't. I didn't ask anybody. I didn't ask him for his opinion.
And the reason being is because we're all mature enough to figure out what we want to listen to and what we don't. So, I mean, it is what it is.
It is. That's exactly what it is. And nobody here asked him. One person asked him for the copy of the letter, and I appreciate that. But there are lots of information that we can go back and research, and that correspond to one another. So let's focus on this year, this charter revision. And of course, we welcome everyone's input, and that's not any different. So let's move on. But I just want to point out caution. Think about when we're posting things, in what context are they done so, and are they only focused on one narrow area and not referencing other things that also would want to be posted if we do that. But we've already done this, so we're moving on to the next topic. Okay. Anything else? Any opening remarks? Okay, then fine. So let's talk about we've had a chance to review the comments, those in favor of remaining with an appointed P and Z, and those also supporting an elected P and Z. We had an opportunity to go through several times last night, and I now want, is there anything that burning comments that you want to make, having slept on it for 24 hours? But we are going to, let me just take you through the process. We're going to go through and we'll go through a vote of everybody, and we'll discuss the results at the end. A number of other questions came up during yesterday's discussion. Judy, I believe you raised an issue. Steve Case has a question or an addition. So we'll take those up after the first go around vote. Okay. And did you have a process question, Bill? And then Joe.
I do, I thought about last night's comments. I think it was pretty clear to understand where everybody, was in their remarks, and accordingly, as you said, we're all mature people and probably figure out how everybody's going to vote from those remarks. But I do think the idea of taking a vote now or taking a straw poll now is really a violation of public trust. There were a number of comments made about the survey. We all knew that once we sent the postcards out, the response would be suboptimal from sending out the emails, which we were precluded from doing by the town for whatever the reason. What is fine. But the survey cards are open until April 1st and March 31st at midnight. And we have a public hearing on the 14th. And so I really think it's sort of a violation of trust for us to vote. The record's there. If anybody want to listen to it, they're all mature people. They can conclude. So from my standpoint, I guess I'd like to make a motion that we do not take a vote on last night's discussion or any discussion, that we postpone that till after the April 14th meeting. And I'm happy to meet that night or the next morning to take a vote on all of the subjects. But I think it's a violation of public trust to circumvent where we are in that particular process. So I make a motion that we postpone any vote, or we postpone any straw poll on any of the subjects until April 14th, but continue to gather information.
I don't hear a second.
Can we have a discussion anyway?
I second
will.
That motion.
Yeah, if
I
you,
second
if
that.
you need a second,
No.
but I would like to have a
Now-
discussion
now-
first.
Now we will have a discussion. Okay, so just for the record, Angela, you're taking the notes. Bill made the motion, second, I think, from Jennifer. And now we're open for discussion. So let me first by say, Bill, thank you for your comments. However, let me just remind you and perhaps others of what the timeline is. And the timeline is that we are in the process, we being the Charter Revision Commission, to work on a draft report, that the public hearing is held as that work is largely done. We're getting very close to putting the information before the town council. The public cannot respond until they hear from us as to where we're thinking. And so by putting all of the waiting for the postcards to be responded to, waiting till after the public hearing, is the flip side of what we're really intending to do here. And so as it was 10 years ago, and as it was 10 years prior to that, the process is we work together on a draft. Some things require votes, especially when there's differences. And this enables the public to begin to react once those votes are made. They're waiting for us. And that's what we're going to do. That's the process we're going to take. We are going to do a vote today. So thank you for that
Well, I have a motion.
suggestion.
I have the motion on the floor, so I think we should discuss.
I know we are discussing.
But I do think the suggestion that you made yesterday, that you run into people and people tell you that, they're waiting to hear from us. I think Judy said yesterday that a lot of people are afraid to use the postcard to associate their name. I'm just going to look, we're all, with technology, we can get this report drafted. We've got pretty far along. I just personally think I don't want to violate public trust. We told them we'd wait and listen. I want to wait and listen. I don't think it's, I think it's going to maybe impact one of 10 things, but I want to make sure we listen to the public. That's what politicians and the political process is supposed to do.
Of course, Bill, and that's the work we're going to do. And when we hear from most people after we respond in terms of what comments we're going to make, remember April 14th, May 4th. If there's something substantial that requires us to rethink any proposal that we're going to be making in creating our draft, there's optimal time to make those changes. We've got work to do, and people are going to be traveling and people are away, and so we're working on it.
Plenty of time to make the fictitious deadline that we were given.
So Bill, we're working on each issue one after another, and this is the first one that we took up with great discussion and debate, and that's what we're going to focus on. So
Okay,
I'm going to turn it next.
I will not vote. I will not vote.
Well,
Period.
your vote is
fine.
still coming through. Your proposal, we still have to vote on that. So hold on a second before you comment. Joe.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Just to make sure,
Yes, Joe.
Okay, good. I certainly agree with everything that Bill said. We gave the public deadlines of when they can put their votes in, and nobody who votes or puts their information in early or late should have an advantage. I also want to comment on something that Commissioner Lambert said last night, which he was correct. He said, there's only 47 votes that want to see change at P&Z, and it's a very tiny number. He was correct in that. But when you consider that we only had about 20 people, maybe there's an exact number, I'm going to say 20 or 25 people that came in and actually spoke to the group asking for or supporting appointed, those numbers are relevant. We shouldn't attach more significance, more weight to people coming in live than people who send in their information digitally. And when you look at it that way, there's more people that have responded via the postcard, about 47 that wanted to see change at P&Z compared to the number that actually came in and spoke. And we also had people that came in and spoke in favor of elected. So the public count, when you put the digital and the live together, is not just equal. And remember, my position yesterday was to say there's weight on both sides of the scale. Therefore, you should put it before the public. But the number is larger on the elected side. And with that, I would basically say that I support Bill's position, and I look forward to the vote that we're going to have on his motion.
Thank you. Steve Case. You're on mute.
I'll take while I respect Bill tremendously and Joe, I'll take the other side of this. We have a draft document with lots of suggested changes in it. This is part of that process of creating a draft document to essentially hit the meatier side of things, which we've deferred in the drafting. And I think we should move forward with votes on this and any other very difficult issue in advance of the April 14 time and the May 4 time.
Thank you. Angela.
Thank you. So I disagree that this is a violation of public trust. That's a very high barrier. We're doing our work. There's been plenty of opportunity for everyone to participate, but we have to move along, and certainly we will hear from the public on April 14th. We'll actually give them more to respond to by taking the vote right now. And, a lot follows from where this vote falls out. It's going to be very hard to move forward with our work in so many different areas. And we have a lot of work to do if we don't take this vote now, in my view. Thank you.
Kathleen, just a technical point. Joe,
Yeah.
you're muting just when you're not talking because the feedback loop is coming from you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Angela. Karen.
Hi. I just wanted to address Joe's comments about the survey, just to be more specific, because I think he's referring to my comments yesterday. The equal is of the people who commented on the board on either elected or appointed for P&Z in that survey, 25%, 25% about, I'm rounding, and then 50% they didn't comment on that at all. And then in addition to that, I would say it's basically unanimous. The officials who came, or the current elected officials across the board who spoke in either regard about the board, about P&Z, to keep it appointed. And then there were, let's say, I don't know exactly, 5 or 10 who came to our first hearing to talk about having it elected. So I'm not sure where he's getting the more. And I just wanted to address that because maybe my comments yesterday were confusing. And also, I just want to say, the part about the violation of public trust is very confusing to me because we had a hearing in the beginning. We every single meeting, people can come in and talk to us. The survey is going to stay open. It could stay open indefinitely because we're always welcoming feedback. It was not intended to be, we're not going to do anything until this date. I cannot imagine how we would ever get any of this done if we wait to do anything until the 31st. And also, what have we been doing this whole time for 4 months, if not, getting to a point where we can make some decisions? So I completely disagree with that comment. About that.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Is anybody else? I'll just have one correction also on a statement Bill made that referencing Judy Neville. And what Judy referenced is that she knows some people, Republicans, that felt uncomfortable with answering the survey because of the identification process and her and putting in emails and so forth. And totally respect that. We had the discussion about that in the survey. It had nothing to do with the postcard. Because every time anyone who answers a survey, whether it was through our digital media or through the postcard, it's the same thing, same requirement. Provide your email address, and some people choose not to do that. We understand that, not a problem. Okay, so the vote on the table is from Bill Perrett, and he made a motion that that we should stay any vote on the elected versus appointed P&Z until, I think you said maybe after the April 14th. Did I get that right, Bill? Is that
That's
what you're
what I
asking
said.
for?
Yep.
Yeah. So we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Can you raise your hand, please?
Please raise your hands and give me a minute to
Yeah.
just
So I'll
note
read
it
out.
down.
I
this is
see
important.
Jennifer, Judy, Bill, and Joe.
Joe. Okay.
Kathleen, it
Thank you.
needs to be by roll call. If it's not unanimous when you're in a remote meeting, it does need to be by roll call.
Okay, so we'll do it by roll call. First, do you want to go first, Joe? Everybody's in a different order and on screen. Go ahead.
I vote yay.
Have Angela call the roll, just like she would normally.
Yeah,
and then
Okay,
go
thank you.
vote
Thank you,
that
Chris.
way.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay, so Mr. Case,
No.
Miss Corbett,
No.
Miss Holm,
Yes.
Miss Jameson, no. Mr. Kimes. Mr.
No.
Kimes? I'm sorry?
I was a no.
No, thank you. Mr. Lampert?
No.
No. Mr. Labris?
No.
Okay. Miss Neville?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Parlow?
Yes.
Mr. Perrett?
Yes.
Miss Willett?
No.
No. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 votes for yes, approving the motion, and then we have 7 against. So those who oppose the motion have it.
Okay, the motion did not carry.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's move on then. So again, our discussion has been on appointed versus elected positions for P and Z, and we're going to take that up for a vote. and I'd like to, if somebody can give me a motion to, this will be on behalf of retaining the P and Z as an appointed body. Can I have a motion to approve?
I will make a motion that the P and Z should remain an appointed body.
Okay, thank you, Russ Kimes. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second from Chris Labrise. All those in favor say aye, and we'll get a roll call.
No,
But
you got to do the roll call.
we'll do the roll call. Okay, go ahead.
Is there any is there a discussion?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. So we've got a motion on the table, seconded. Any discussion? Yes, Steve.
Just we're voting for the Planning and Zoning Committee only, not the alternates, correct?
That's correct. You wanted to bring up that point. But
Yes.
I mean, it is the full commission. The full commission includes the alternates. That's a separate discussion if you want to talk about another plan. But right now it's the full commission, planning and zoning, is retaining the current status.
I'm sorry, I have a question. So
Yes.
we're voting for regular members plus the alternates.
The commission, the full
to keep-
commission includes
keep
the
the
regular
status
members.
quo.
Yes,
Okay, got
that's correct. Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
I would still like to have my motion from yesterday on the table, and I'm not sure how to do that in response to the vote for this.
Okay.
So we have to finalize this to have
Yes.
an
And then-
alternative.
Yeah, we'll consider alternatives, but right now we're going to vote on this.
I think
Motion.
technically, Robert Rules of Order mean that we should take Judy's motion next,
And why is that?
because that was prior to this motion.
So we closed the meeting, and Ira, you can guide me here if I've got this wrong. We closed the meeting. We did not go forward on, it was not part of the agenda. Judy's motion yesterday evening, and we did not go forward with it. We closed the meeting, and we've opened the meeting, and we're taking up a new motion. We'll, as I said earlier, when we opened up this meeting, we'll take all discussions and other opportunities, but right now we're talking about the vote is before us now in terms of whether to retain a appointed full commission of P and Z. And I'll ask Ira, do I need to take up Judy's motion from last evening? Is Ira on? I think I saw him.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, there you are. Okay.
Yes, can you see me and hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Thank
Can you
you.
hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Ira Bloom, Bertram Moses. I'm covering this for Nick Bamonte. I was not here yesterday, of course. Nick was. He couldn't make it today. I did not hear Judy's motion. I guess I would
Do you
say.
want me to repeat it?
Sure.
Or, I mean, is the sequence proper? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Doesn't
I mean,
matter.
are we
Can I just
putting all
suggest
these
this,
on the table?
What the motion, it's a question of sequence.
Well, are they all motions on the table at the same time, or does one have to fail to offer another alternative?
Well, if something's on the table, my understanding of Roberts is that if it's on the table, if it was made and it was
Yeah.
seconded and it was on the table and
I'll reread it.
you ran out of time, then I would think that would be the
Well, we
first order of
deferred it,
business.
yeah.
What was at the last
Sorry.
moments? It was at the last moments of our
It was
meeting
at the
last
end of the
night.
meeting and we deferred it, yeah.
Well, was it formally made and on the
Yeah.
table, so to speak, with the?
Yeah, I would say so.
Kathleen, is that-
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's
Just
correct.
clarify.
That's
So
correct. We
Judy
did-
made the motion and then I seconded it at the end of last night.
I think it
I
was
think
Joe-
there is,
Joe
I think
Paolo
there is a
seconded, it wasn't
Roberts
you.
procedure
Yeah.
that I think there is a Roberts procedure where you can vote to take that off the table and put a different motion on. I'm not a Roberts expert necessarily, but if it was on the table and ready for a vote, then I would think you would pick up with that first today. However, if someone wants to move that a different motion if that be set aside, Judy's motion and another motion be put on, I think
We've
you
already
can do that.
started, yeah, and Ira, as you already heard, we've already had a new motion and a new vote, and so we've the order, if you will, that is being asked is already out of order. If in fact Judy wanted to go first, and we didn't discuss that or go first, but Judy, I think if you would be so kind as to, we've already heard from Bill and his motion, and we had the vote, and that's fine. Now the motion has been put forward, and Chris, and it's been seconded by Russ Kimes, and we'd like to move forward on
No,
this.
other way around.
And then we'd like to, the other way around, excuse me. And then I'd like to do, have your discussion and your motion, if you'd be so kind.
Now?
What we'd like to do is go forward. We currently have a motion on the floor and seconded, okay? And now we'd like to cast a vote.
So you're
and then,
taking a roll call on that, right?
yes.
All right.
Okay, and then we'll turn to you.
Okay.
Is that acceptable?
I'm just trying to clear that, we're not out of sequence, if you will. Does
Well, we
one
may
have
have
to
been-
fail to make another motion? I'm not clear.
No, I don't think so. I think you offered
Okay,
a
well, I'm
separate
not
thing.
clear. And all these years I've not had this.
It's not a problem. It's not a problem. And Bill, if there was an order, we've already went out of order, but we're going to ask you to speak right after this vote. And we're going to do a roll. Thank you, Judy. And we're going to do a roll call now. Everybody knows. Just a reminder.
Just to be clear, I didn't go out of order.
No, you just voted. You wanted to. You made a motion.
I'm
You
not
didn't go out of order.
controlling. I'm not
You
controlling.
didn't. You made a motion.
I think we are out of order now that Judy's raised that, but that's a different issue. It's up to Ira.
Yeah.
You made a motion, and look, Judy, it's up to you. Would you like to be just mindful of the fact that we're just going forward, and we're going to take you up right after this vote?
But that's assuming that everything else fails or moves forward, right? Without consideration of this option or not?
No, absolutely not.
I'm just trying to be correct, if that's the right word.
Absolutely, I understand. And thank you for doing so. Okay?
All right.
All right. Does anybody object to this other than Bill and Jennifer? Or does anybody and Joe? You want to hear Judy's comments?
The motion that was made yesterday by Judy, I seconded as well.
Yes.
And I expected the chair would, as the chair routinely does, is call for a vote.
Yeah, we were closing the meeting.
The chair chose to close the meeting and not
and
honor that. Okay.
Yeah, that's correct. The meeting was over. Correct.
The meeting was closed after the motion was made.
After the motion was, we had run out of time. Yes.
Wow.
Therefore, that motion should be voted on now out of respect for last night.
If that's what Judy wants to do, Judy, do you want to do that?
It's fine. I don't know if you want to make this motion and have all the votes at the same time, or you want to.
They're separate votes. They're separate votes.
They have to be separate votes?
Yes. They're separate votes.
All right. Well,
Different issues.
Yeah.
I'll just give my 2 cents. I feel like we should do the motion that was on the table that was at the close last night first.
Okay, that's fine. I have no objection to that. I see a lot of opportunities here and intentions to stop things happening in terms of a formal process. That's totally fine. So Judy, we're going to give you the floor to open up your motion again. This is why it's taken us forever, Bill.
Well, it is. Yeah, and it's not.
If you're asking why,
it gets more contentious every minute, which was not my objective.
March 25th.
If it's easiest, what I'll do is I'll withdraw my motion for now.
Thank you.
As soon as
Thank
she's
you.
done, I'll do it again.
Okay, thank you, Russ. The motion is withdrawn.
All right.
We'll start again after Judy completes hers. Go ahead, Judy.
I will read my motion. I move this body reach a consensus to frame a motion to be sent to the town council as to whether the Planning and Zoning Commission should be elected or appointed. This motion would then be subject to a vote of the electorate.
Okay, could you just repeat that? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have it written down this time, but I think it's what came off my head.
Yeah.
I move this body reach a consensus to frame a motion to be sent to the town council as to whether the Planning and Zoning Commission should be elected or appointed. This motion would then be subject to a vote of the electorate. I just think it's bigger than 11 people.
I second the motion.
Any discussion?
Can I
Yes,
comment,
Todd-
Chair?
Can you just give Todd Lampert a second here?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Todd?
Yeah, I have no problem with the motion. I just don't think we have the ability to say it goes to a vote of the electorate. I think all we could do is make recommendations to the board
Wait,
to see what they want
I
to do.
can
But
change that word. I agree with you, Todd.
yeah, so I just wanted you to change it to make it more appropriate so that if it does get approved, that's the language is proper.
I'll say a motion to be recommended to the town council. How's that?
Okay, I'm gonna before we start editing your motion, I'm gonna turn to Ira and then I have my own comments. Go ahead, Ira.
Yeah, all right, thank you, Kathleen. I had a chance to think about this after speaking to my partner, Mr. Bramante, and I spoke to the chair earlier today. So if I'm understanding Ms. Neville's motion, the suggestion is that basically this commission not make a recommendation as to elected versus appointed, but rather somehow get it to the town council and then get it to the general public at the election, presumably in November, for a vote, the final vote, I guess, of the public. And if I'm understanding it correctly, Judy, then I guess that would be the sort of the final decision. The public would vote, keep it appointed or make it elected. Is that more or less?
Yes, that's exactly right. I think it's worthy of a public input.
Yeah.
More than just a hearing.
The problem with that is that you do not have that authority. You do not have that option under the statutory framework. It is not a an opinion poll type thing or a referendum type thing. The law says you can submit a series of draft findings, a draft report to the council. Within that draft report, you have the option of making a change to this. You can recommend by vote that it be elected, or you can leave it as is. But you have to choose one or the other and send that to the town council. And then the town council has a chance to deliberate, and there's a process there. They can send it back with recommendations to you, and you have another chance at it. But you do have to make a choice. You do not have the option of waiting for some vote by the public in November. If you don't make a recommendation on this particular issue, then it's presumed that you're leaving it as is. So while it may sound perhaps like a nice idea, it's not a legal option under this framework.
All right.
Okay. I think I'll leave it to the legal view of it. I perhaps will also say, we've been at this for quite some time and many years as well. And again, if there is going to be voted, sorry, Bill, I didn't mean to jump in on. Did you raise your hand before I did? Sorry. Let me finish. If there's going to be no change, and we haven't even gotten to that vote yet, so we'll let us go through that process, and as we said many times, let's go through the process, and then if there's not going to be a change to any part of the charter, if we put forward anything we were going to, and this is not lawful, but if we were going to just put anything before, the entire charter would go before the electorate, and that's not the purpose.
No,
that's not what the commission is doing. So and so I think Ira reviewed what is necessary and what we're attempting to do. We do want to vote on your suggestion, however, but before doing so, Bill Perrett, you had a comment. And you're on mute.
I just had a question for Ira. Ira, heard what you said. I understand that. Does it matter what the charge was from the town council to us? Because in reading the minutes of the town council meeting, I don't know why I wasn't there. There's some stuff written in there and then crossed out, the minutes that are published. And being a layman, I'm not a lawyer. I thought they were trying to restrict what we report back to them. I didn't even know if they're allowed to do that, but I was just wondering if reading the minutes, or is what you decided, that's just the state statute and there's no flexibility.
Oh, you're not bound by their charge. That's absolutely clear under the law. And so we tell the appointing authority all the time, you could lay out 3, 4, 5, 10 items for the Charter Revision Commission, but then the commission is free to look at other items. So you're not bound by whatever they did or whatever was crossed out. I don't recall what they crossed out, but so the answer to that is you're not bound by it.
And nor are they restricted, not bound or restricted.
Correct. Right. You can open up any issue, including issues that they did not ask you to look at. And that happens very, very often.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ira. Any other comments? Okay, so the motion, Judy, your motion is, and I don't know that I can state it again, but I think, does anybody need a reread of Judy's comments?
No.
Okay, a second.
Am I hearing though, Kathleen, am I hearing that it's an illegal motion? I mean, is that basically where we're at?
I don't think the motion is illegal, but correct me if I'm wrong, Ira, but the suggestion is not, it's a non-doable thing, right?
It's non-doable. I guess if it passed, effectively, you would not be making a change to that provision, and therefore that would be the end of it right there, I suppose, if you want to take that interpretation. But it would have no legal effect. It wouldn't get it on the ballot.
So are you telling me it stops the legal debate? It stops the community from acting on that?
Well, don't forget, you're making a draft.
Says no change. Is that what you're suggesting?
Well, it's not perfectly clear what it says, but if I'm understanding it, you would prefer to leave this issue up to the public.
Well, I just think it needs a broader input.
Yeah.
Than 35 in a survey and 14 people in a hearing, and it's very contentious.
Well,
we're hearing
I think
ton of backlash.
Yeah.
So, but if it's if it's a mute motion, then I'll withdraw it because it's not intended to leave everything in place.
I'll go with the word moot, and I'll go with the illegal. I'm reluctant to say it's illegal.
Well, it's the way it's coming out.
Yeah, you're not authorized. It's not going to have that effect. It's not going to work to get what you want to do. You have to make recommendations in your draft report, and you can recommend a change to this section to make it elected, and that goes on to the next step. We'll go to the town council. There's some back and forth, or you can choose not to do anything on this section, effectively leaving it as appointed. But those are your only two choices with regard to this particular
Well, then
issue.
I'll withdraw the option because it's not going anywhere.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Judy. Okay, we're going to start again then with a vote to retain the current structure of the P&Z, full P&Z.
You need a motion because Russ withdrew his motion.
So I move that we retain P&Z as it stands as an appointed body, so that it's procedurally correct.
Sure, that's right. That's right. Second, Chris Labrie. Okay, now we're going to, any comments? Any further comments? Okay, hearing none. Angela, will you do?
Yes, sure. Mr. Case?
I'm voting no in terms of this and expect to vote yes down the road for a similar motion.
So you are voting no to the motion?
No on the motion as it is, to leave everything the same.
Okay. Ms. Corbett?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Holm?
I'm a little confused by Mr. Case's remark. So he's voting to change it to elected? By voting no, is that what the case is?
Yes,
No, I'm voting.
Sorry. What
I'm
did you say, Steve?
voting no on this proposal to leave everything the same.
Okay, good.
Okay, Ms. Holm, your vote?
I vote with Mr. Case, no.
No, okay. Ms. Jameson, I am voting yes to the motion. Mr. Kimes?
Yes.
Mr. Lampert?
Yes.
Mr. Labrie?
yes,
Yes. Ms. Neville?
No.
No. Mr. Parlow?
No.
Okay. Mr. Perrette?
No.
Miss Willett?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yeses and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 noes. So the motion is carried.
Okay. All right. The next item, as we talked about, was Steve, you wanted to discuss the items that you brought up yesterday in terms of the elected alternates.
Yes, and it seems to me it's a moot point now from the perspective of having a elected alternate position for planning and zoning, which is what I was hoping to put forth down the road. But I'm happy to go through the research that I did overnight, but we found, I believe it was 10 municipal organizations, and I sent it around today, that have elected planning and zoning commissions and appointed alternates. And the question came up yesterday about the specifics, and I sent that around. So that's enough for me anyway to say that I was looking forward to the discussion in advance of the vote that's already taken place. So it's fine.
Okay. Okay. It didn't preclude the fact of, just considering that, but okay, that's fine, not a problem. So no, you're not taking up any other motions?
No.
Okay.
Well, right. Let me ask you this. We've just passed procedurally a motion to keep things the same.
Mm-hmm.
And I would be putting a motion to change the motion that was just passed. So it seems to me it's a moot
Well, you
point.
can make a motion, Steve, that says how you want your preference, which is it remains appointed, but you'd like the alternates elected. And I don't mean to put words in your mouth. I think that's what you're suggesting.
That's exactly what but after we've just passed this motion, that just doesn't seem reasonable to put that motion up now.
Well, again, that wasn't before what we voted on, and now you're suggesting is if you want to put it forward, please go ahead. But if you'd rather not, that's not a problem.
I'll just state for the record that I would have voted yes if it was just the Planning and Zoning Commission only and keeping it elected. And that's enough.
Planning and Zoning Commission only.
Keeping it
appointed.
Keeping it appointed, yes.
Yeah. Well, the planning, and as for clarification, it was just the Planning and Zoning Commission. The alternates are part of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay.
So, okay, that they're not separate. They're part of the full commission. Okay.
Okay. Could I just ask? I'm a little confused by Mr. Case's comment, and I want to make sure I get it correct. For the record, you said you would have voted yes if only the P&Z were the subject of the motion made by Mr. Kimes. Is that correct?
Only the actual commissioners. That's correct.
Well, there are two kinds of commissioners. There are regular commissioners and alternate commissioners. They're all commissioners.
Right. And they're all commissioners. So I would have voted yes to keep the planning and zoning actual commissioners.
Well, they're all actual commissioners. We have regular, we have all
appointed.
We shouldn't be challenging people's votes.
Steve, you're breaking up.
Okay. I'm sorry. I will take any discussion off the table right now. It looks like my internet is unstable. I see something coming up. So I'll take any discussion off the table.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, sorry, Bill.
No, I was going to say, I mean, I understand clarification, but I actually think what Steve was suggesting is absolutely terrific, and I would vote along with him if we had a proposal. But I just don't think when we take votes for the record, since we're going to be taking a lot of votes, which I don't want to take, that we should be then asking people to explain their votes. But that's over now. And it's probably something in Robert's Rule of Law or something probably in Ira's, experience that would say we need to be a little careful in this area.
Yep. Ira, do you have any comments about how we just went through that process and Steve's comments?
I don't want to restrict the conversation, but I think Bill has a point. I mean, if Steve has a motion to put on the table, then
sure,
you can do that, and you'll go from there, I guess.
Yeah,
I'll leave it at that for the moment.
We're totally fine with that. I think Steve, again, we're not trying to put words in your mouth. Did you want to put a motion forward or not?
Okay, I'll put a motion forward that, and I didn't word it in my mind ahead of time, but I'll put a motion to divide the current Planning and Zoning Commission into regular members and alternates. And with that division, the regular members would be appointed and the alternates would be elected.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, let's have some discussion here. Before we get into our own comments, Ira, do you have any comments on that?
Well, I think the first order is to ascertain whether that's already been voted on, as you said, Kathleen, and maybe others. The first vote talked about commissioners. The commissioners do include regular and alternates. That's clear. Maybe it was not clear to everyone who voted. So you don't want to have two contradictory votes here. If the body wants to rescind that last vote that you just took, the 6-5 vote, I think you can do that and then move on to Steve's, perhaps. That's one option. But I don't think you want two contradictory votes.
Right.
Which is where you're heading, I think, unless you do something with the first vote that's already been completed.
And I didn't write down the roll call, but I think Bill and I voted no, so it's a moot point. I mean, there's no rescission that's possible. So let's just move on.
Okay.
I'll take my motion off the table.
Okay. All right, Steve. Okay, thank you. Let's move on then. So we are the next topic, and we had started this conversation on the length of terms last night. We did not complete it. Jennifer, do you want to take it up again?
Yes. Shall we?
Please.
So I think I sent around last night, again, some materials that I had prepared. Don't ask me when. I apologize if I didn't date them. I should do that going forward.
Yes, thank you.
The first question we should discuss is we see essentially two commissions, full commissions that are appointed that have terms of 2 years. One of them is the Conservation Commission, and the other is ZBA.
And inland wetlands as well.
Well, I was going to get to that in a sec too, because they also have alternates and also discuss that as well.
Okay.
So, which didn't have, so let me just finish it. So we saw two that are full-bodied members with no alternates that have 2-year terms. And then we have inland wetlands, which has a 2-year term. And interestingly enough, doing the research, their alternates are actually not specified in the charter, unless someone would like to correct me on that. And those are the ones that are appointed. So these 3 entities, I'm going to call them, And we're not going to go to P and Z alternates yet, if we just park that for a sec. Have 2-year terms, which we should discuss if we would like to make them 3-year terms. So that's sort of the discussion point on the table. Yep.
Right.
And so the goal of this discussion, sorry, Kathleen,
that's okay.
was should we take the action to leave them alone, or should we standardize similar commissions? So for instance, for conservation, they're for 3 years, they're 2 years. Fire commission is 3 years. So a parking is 3 years. So some of these appointed bodies, such as conservation and ZBA, and we'll get to wetlands in a sec, and wetlands in a sense for at least wetlands, and then we discussed the wetlands alternates. Should we now bring them up to more of a 3-year term?
And can you, as a reminder, just review those that are at the 3-year and then those that are at the 4-year?
Sure. So if you go through the document for appointed 3-year are audit committee, fire commission, health and human services commission, parks and recreation commission, parking commission, ethics board, police commission, planning and zoning commission, and that's it that I had on my chart.
And then the rest of them, which I think is only the Board of Finance, correct me if I'm wrong, is 4 years.
And Board of Ed is 4 years?
And Board of Ed, excuse me.
Which is elected, though.
It's elected, yeah. So of appointed,
Board of Finance is the only one that's 4 years.
Right. Okay. So we got 1 4-year. We have, I lost count, but it seemed like 10 or more were at 3-year. And then we have 3 others that are at 2-year. And the question is, would we be interested, and is there any value? I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it rule. Is there any, what value would there be in taking the 3-year terms of the 3 commissions to a 3-year term to be consistent with all others, with the exception of Board of Finance? Board of Finance would be the only exception at 4 years. And we'll go around. Chris Labrie.
Can you repeat the 3 that are 2 years?
Sure.
But to facilitate, do you want me to just share the screen with this? That nice doc.
Well, conservation.
Okay.
I think we got it. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Yeah. First of all, I think Russ had his hand up first.
It was merely about the document, whether you wanted me to share it, just to try to make it easier.
Okay.
No problem.
I think we should, with regards to inland wetlands and conservation, we should, I think we should move those to 3 years. I would favor 3 years also for zoning board of appeals. But zoning board of appeals, we might want to discuss whether that should be an elected body, and elected so that it mirrors the Board of Assessment Appeals. So the 2 appellate boards would be elected. And so there'd be some symmetry there. And if they're elected, then I would say those should be 2-year terms, because 3-year terms in an election cycle are very complicated and really don't work, because at some point they're not going to line up with regular elections. But with respect to appointed commissions, the inland wetlands and conservation, I think 3 years is a reasonable term for the commissioners.
Okay. Thank you. Angela?
Yes, so I support Ms. Holmes' suggestion that we should raise the term of appointed boards that are currently 2 to 3 at least. I mean, I would be willing to discuss making it 4 years, because I do think for an awful lot of these boards and commissions, anyone joining them should have the expectation that it's going to take them some time to get up to speed, because you don't necessarily meet that often, and that it is desirable that they stay a certain length of time so that they are a mature and experienced member of that commission. I would have no trouble, though, if they were reappointed, if they didn't stay for the full length of, say, a four-year term. But I think 2 is too short, and we've all also see that, it's a bit of a backlog in the first selectman's office to keep having to reappoint boards and commissions that are up, where the members are up every 2 years.
Okay, thank you. Jennifer?
2 points. So for clarity, I was just putting out what is what and what is not what. So I'm not making a proposal. But secondly, what my proposal would be is, yes, conservation moves to 3. Inland wetlands be elected and moves to 3. And ZBA moves to 3. But I just want to point out that I believe it was Judy, before we left last night, had some very valid points that I'd like to hear from her on sequencing of this in terms of the 2-year cycle of a select person. So I'd love to get her input on that. But I personally support at least conservation and ZBA going to 3. I'm on the fence about inland wetlands, and I do believe inland wetlands should be elected.
So is it fair to say that any currently appointed commission that's at 2 years, you recommend 3 currently appointed? Setting aside any discussion about inland wetlands or ZBA, right? Because we have both of those have been talked about. But any current appointed positions, if they remain appointed, you would recommend a term limit of going from 2 to 3. Is that a fair statement?
Not exactly. So I support no matter what, keeping conservation appointed.
Yeah, no, I understand. We're just talking about term limits now. Yeah, right.
Yep. And making them 3. I support inland wetlands being elected. And if they were to become elected, then I would do 3. But if they are not elected, I would stay with 2. So I'm sorry to make this complicated.
No, that's okay. Let me just say, the elected of ZBA or elected of inland wetlands is not on our agenda, and we're in a special meeting agenda, so we're not having any discussion about that. So again, if we just keep it to term limits, I think we understand what your recommendation is, so I appreciate that. Okay.
Could we not say, Kathleen, that if term limits unless at some future meeting they become elected?
Yeah. Yeah. And again, just this is a generic comment, which I think I can make on the agenda. If I'm not, forgive me. But just remember, and somebody else has said this, elected going to 3 years is problematic. Municipal elections are every 2 years. And you
that's right.
Introduce
you can't do that.
That's a non-starter.
Right, which is why I would keep inland wetlands 2 if it was elected. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. No 3-year elected positions. Okay. All right. So term limits, what we have in terms of any other further discussion about the group, currently there's 3 that might change based on a subsequent agenda, but any current appointed position that is 2 years, the suggestion would be going up to 3. Russ Kimes has a comment. Yes.
Merely supporting Chris's proposal. I think that's a really salient way to do it. And then both Europe bodies have elected positions, and then everything goes to 3, which provides some symmetry across the board. I think that's a great proposal.
Okay, elected positions, we'll take that up at the next meeting. But okay, I hear you. Okay. Let me just comment. I'm going to comment on your what you raised, Angela. So I am for 2 reasons. I'm supportive of considering taking up the 2 years appointed positions to 3 years for a couple of reasons. One, the consistency. When you're recruiting people and you say, look, you're going to be in an appointed position, it's a 3-year term, unless you're going to the Board of Finance, which is a 4-year term. And it just keeps it simple. And as any of us in town are considering positions, knowing that we're committing to a 3-year term, I think it's important. I don't recommend I take a different position than Angela. I don't recommend that anybody go up to 4, other than with the current Board of Finance, and for a whole host of reasons. But that is a long commitment, and I think it's healthy to have change reappointments and changes, and I think that's why I support the 3 years as well. And then finally, we do have a bit of a backlog in terms of people who are still serving, despite the fact that their date has expired. And we appreciate, and under the charter, you hold your position until you're replaced or you're reappointed. But there's quite a number of individuals who are still out there, and so I think this would kind of shorten that backlog a bit if we lengthened. And Jennifer, correct me if I'm wrong, those 3 that we just mentioned, those 3 commissions, how many people are in there that we're talking about extending? And by the way, as you go through that and you take a look at those numbers, just as a reminder, if this went forward, operationally, those who serve would finish out their term currently, and then if they were to be either reappointed or you brought in new people, they would be coming in under, if it would moved up, a 3-year term. That would be my suggestion how it would operationally work. Judy, does that sound right?
That's exactly right. My only comment here, and I looked at that list, there are a few dead people on that list. There are actually several that would be reappointed or have been reappointed, and some that have left the commission. So the 40 is not really 40. It's probably closer to 30. And I had said yesterday I would have liked the first selectman's input on this. I don't know why 10 years ago the Conservation Commission came in with a term, of 2 years when all the other ones were going for 3. Was there a rationale at the time? I'm just curious.
That was their number based on their ordinance. Nothing was changed. They had always been 2 years.
On conservation?
Yeah.
But that was a new commission.
No, it wasn't.
It was not?
It was established under an ordinance first, and that was 2 years.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. I get it. All right. Yeah.
I mean, it was fairly new, but it was the ordinance that set it up for 2 years.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yes.
So does the ordinance has to be changed? One more change. Oh my God, we're just giving them such a laundry list. Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that'd be true for all 3. If that was
but I mean,
with all the other things, right? Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Angela,
full-time job.
Yeah, Angela.
So, thank you. I personally would like to see 4, but it doesn't sound like anybody else agrees with me, so I'm happy to go with 3. That's point number 1. And then point number 2, I think we should consider the alternates also. I personally see no reason why their term should be different from that of a regular member. When there's an opening, typically, or I think ideally what happens is, if, say, a regular member resigns, then the best qualified alternate becomes the regular member, which means that the opening on the commission is for an alternate. And I would like that the new person to have the same expectation about what they're signing up for. I really don't see why we would want to distinguish between regular members and alternates in terms of the term.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, and I do see Tucker Murphy on, and I'll pick up. When you are an alternate and you're filling in for a vacancy, you're filling out for what the remaining term is.
Yeah.
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 Or if they, they had 6 months left in their term, you fill in for the remaining length of the term held by the person who left.
Yeah. But
So
sorry.
that's okay. So that and I don't honestly know why alternates are fewer number of years, 2 years, I think, in virtually all of them. Maybe alternates are 1 year. Actually, Jennifer also did the work on that. Jennifer, of our alternates that we have, are they all 2 years? I know they're less than whatever they are if you're a regular member.
Well, it's mixed. So 2 points. Alternates in historical purposes, and when I did the research, were really meant to be functional roles, not full membership roles. In other words, they were really existing in general to fill in for regular members.
Right.
Now, that's what I found by just looking historically at statutes. There also was a thinking, and I think, Angela, you and I had sort of raised this at one point, that it creates a pipeline to a certain degree of people, but it's easier to refresh experience based upon alternates. So people are not having to commit 100% full time in the sense of the full term, but it also meant that they could also get a taste. I hate to use this term, but a try and buy, per se. So what I looked about historically across sort of even federal and state statutes, that seemed to be the prevailing wisdom. Yep. Now, to your other question, I put this in the chat. There's alternates with ZBAs that are 2 years, and then inland wetlands alternates are TBD in terms of the charter. What I suggest we should do is speak about first regular members in terms of 3 years, and then why don't we debate alternates?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, Chris.
So I wonder, is it appropriate to put up a motion?
Is there any other discussion before the motion is? No? Okay, go ahead, Chris.
Well, I would like to move that all appointed boards, all appointed boards and commissions, with the exception of the Board of Education, while they're elected, the Board of Finance, be 3-year terms for the regular members and 2-year terms for the alternate members. And I'm not going to name the specific commissions because there are discussions yet to be had about which ones of these might be converted to elected boards and commissions, in which case then you would have to change the frequency. But if they remain appointed, then the regular members are 3 and the alternate members are 2.
Okay. Okay, can I have a second?
I'll second.
Steve
Sorry,
K
who was that?
second.
Steve
Yes.
K second.
Thank you.
Okay, discussion. Angela has her hand up.
Yes, thank you. I would prefer to separate out in the motion. Let's do regulars and then have another motion for alternates. And I do not like the idea of treating alternates differently from regular members. The fact of the matter is that on many boards and commissions where there are alternates, they're constantly stepping in and taking a regular member's place because of attendance, and people have lives as well as appointment responsibilities. And then secondly, the need to recuse yourself if there is any kind of, perception of a conflict of interest. So I liked on inland wetlands as the chair, I like to hear from everybody, including the alternates, and I don't want to kind of distinguish in any way until we come to the vote, who's an alternate, who's a regular member, and there's already a sort of a feeling of being a second-class citizen. So I would prefer to have a motion that dealt just with the regular members and then another motion dealing with the alternates, because I'm not in favor of the alternates just having a 2-year term.
Okay, Jennifer.
Yeah, I just want to make a comment. So when I did some research and analysis on how many people also had alternates, we and Westport, for what I did for this sort of 2-year, 3-year thing, are only the few people who have alternates. Most other towns like Darien, Ridgefield, and I think I sent the spreadsheet around. It's the one that's yellow and pink. Um, rarely have alternates in this area. So just for awareness, I think if you're starting to talk about now making alternates the same term as regular members, maybe you should just make them regular members.
Okay. Chris, next is Chris. And Chris, can you just comment? Because I recall when I was an alternate on the Board of Finance. And just how often are alternates used in Board of Finance meetings?
I would say that the alternates get seated maybe I would say about a third of the time during the year, or quarter to a third of the time. So of 12 meetings, well, we actually have more than 12 when you count. So let's say the 16 meetings that we have, including the budget, they might get we might have to appoint an alternate at perhaps 4 of them.
And I would agree with that in keeping track of that.
By and large, the commissioners and the board members show up, and it's not often that an alternate gets voted in. What the alternates do, because they're new people, is they get to listen and absorb what is going on, and the learning curve at Board of Finance, and I would think at P&Z, is very, very sharp, and it takes a while. So if you sit there for 2 or 3 terms as an alternate before you get to become a full member, is part of the apprenticeship. It's not a second-class citizenship as it is an apprenticeship. But in the interest of moving forward, I am willing to change my motion to make the first motion that be on regular members of appointed commissions have 3-year terms. And then we can deal with the alternates in a separate motion.
Okay, so that's your new motion. Do I have a second?
I'll continue to second.
Okay, Steve Case continues to second. And comments, and I see that Tucker Murphy has her hand raised. Tucker.
Yes, thank you. As somebody who keeps track of the alternates as far as the Board of Finance, I can tell you that this has changed drastically since we've been having hybrid meetings. It used to be if someone wasn't able to be there in person, then we had to use an alternate. Now I would say Chris's number is spot on, that 9 times out of 10, if somebody can't be there, if they can get on via Zoom, which is obviously a change from the last time that you all did this.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that same true, Tucker? Yeah. I don't know if you keep track of the P&Z, the same thing?
I don't keep track of P&Z, I'm sorry.
Okay.
But I do watch their meetings, and I can tell you that a lot of them are on by Zoom often.
Okay. So, and the 2 years, was that a rule when these commissions were first? Is that sort of a standard? I know Jennifer said there's not very many other organizations out there, towns out there that have alternates, but those who do, is that I can understand why that was put in. I don't know why it was 2 years versus anything, but is there maybe Ira? Do you have any knowledge of that? Why alternates were at a shorter term than regulars?
I really don't know.
Okay, that's fine.
I guess I don't know.
I don't either. Okay. All right. But we have the motion on the table from Tucker. Is your hand still raised, or you're...
I apologize. I'll put it down.
No, that's okay. That's fine. So Chris's new motion now is just those appointed bodies where regular members are serving 2-year terms, that be modified in the charter and put before the town council and potentially in front of the electorate to go to 3-year terms. We have a second. Do you want to do a whole roll call of who wants to go ahead?
Okay, Mr. Case?
I'm in favor of the motion.
Okay. Ms. Corbett?
Yes.
Ms. Holm?
Yes.
Ms. Jameson? Yes. Mr. Kime?
Yes.
Mr. Lampert?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Bree?
Yes.
Miss Neville?
Yes.
Mr. Parlow?
Yes.
Mr. Perrette?
Yes.
Miss Willett?
Yes.
Okay, so the motion was carried unanimously.
Fantastic. That's great. Okay. Let's move on to the then discussion on the 2-year. Is that something that we have enough information on to make this a vote? How does everybody feel about that? Go ahead, Angela.
I would like to suggest that we perhaps gather a little bit more information on why it is that we've got 2 years for alternates. I think in the case of inland wetlands, it just wasn't thought about when you put them in the charter for the first time. But maybe a little more understanding of why the alternates have a shorter term would be helpful.
Judy, do I see
I
you
can
raising your
answer
hand?
that
Yeah.
to the extent that I know. It was supposed to originally give the resident an opportunity to see how the commission worked, decide whether they really wanted to be that involved, and if so, for how long, or if they wanted to decline and move on after the 2 years. It was really more in the interest of learning but not committing, because at the time an alternate was considered subservient, but we tried to make it, yeah, I mean, it was.
I was one. I didn't feel that
Well,
way,
you know, you felt that way, and I think others, most of them do. And so it's not just about participation, it's backup, and it's also commitment, if you wanted to make that kind of commitment.
Yeah. I never felt subservient. And in fact, I just
Well,
correct
you
me if
never
I'm-
were under us.
Well, just
but I
correct me if
think
I'm
a
wrong.
lot of them do. Yeah.
Yeah, just correct me
I've
if I'm
heard
wrong,
that
though.
enough.
And
Yeah.
to Chris and Angela, you're the alternates are more than welcome to ask questions, make comments, and so forth, right? I mean, they're equal in that regard. Okay, yeah.
Well,
all right.
you know, the alternates, you know, are not just sitting on the duff, but they are not. I think that, you know, sometimes alternates get on there and they really don't want to re-up because they don't. It's a time commitment that they either didn't think
And they're not
of,
sure.
they're not all that interested in it after all is said and done. And I've known some people in town that have been alternates on the Board of Finance in the past. And, you know, after 1 or 2 times kind of say, it's really not for me. Yeah. So I think 2 years for alternates is not a bad term.
Yeah.
Agree.
And looks like Angela's agreeing there with her thumbs up, flying through. She hit the wrong button.
I'm sorry, I hit the wrong button. I hit the wrong button, but I have something else to say, which is, and it kind of comes on to a subject that we'll be talking about later. Quite often where you have alternates on boards and commissions, if they don't belong to the right political party, they are not elevated into the regular position that is open. And so you get newbies coming in and being a regular member from the get-go. So, you know, it doesn't always work out quite as, you know, as Judy would have liked it to do.
Well, they do fill in for positions that are vacant by party. They're filling in by party. They're not necessarily changing the party. That's what history has shown. But I understand what you're saying. But that's typically you fill in for the vacancy by party. I filled in for a vacancy on the Board of Selectmen because I was a Democrat, am a Democrat, and filled in for a Democrat slot. So that's how it works.
First hand is up.
Anyone who was next. It wasn't
Oh, I'm
bipartisan.
sorry. I don't see Jennifer. I see you. You
The
have
color is a little different. She's had
different
it.
color hand, but okay, I see it now. Sorry.
Yeah, I just want to say that when I did the research too, there was nothing that precluded alternates from participating in the process.
Right.
There were
Right.
no restrictions or limitations. The only thing, and actually when they are seated then to vote, they're given full powers.
Yeah.
So as I
Of
go
course.
back to sort of the try and buy methodology, this gives people at least an opportunity to participate without making a long-term commitment. And that seemed to be sort of the sentiment too, that in Westport sort of was embodied there, the other town with alternates. As I said, I did not find alternates in Darien, Ridgefield, or Wilton on some of these boards. I think that was basically pretty clearly stated. Yep.
Yeah. This is a personal thing that I'd love to be able to check something else off the box as we go through this meeting and have one more thing that we can to say, okay, done, let's move on. I'd like to make a motion that the alternates, wherever they exist on the appointed bodies, remain at their current term, which, as I understand it, I think it's consistent. Jennifer, correct me on. Okay, 2 years.
Well, inland wetlands that has no term at all.
Well, that they all alternates will be.
Yeah, but
2
all
years.
alternates to appointed boards have 2-year terms.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So in the chat, I've put the information about the alternates. With ZBA, it's 2, inland wetlands alternates are TBD. Okay. And then there's P and Z who are 2.
Yeah, they're all 2, and right now have any of the alternates, Angela, in inland wetlands, have they ever had their terms expire and then be reappointed?
Yeah, I think actually what happens, they're treated as 2 years because
That's 2 years. That's what I thought.
The regular members are 2 years.
The fact that it's silent doesn't mean that it doesn't operate as the same as all the other alternates.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
But
So I'd like to make a motion.
We do need to make the change in the charter.
Yeah, sure. We'll update it to say 2
Inland
years.
wetlands, because inland wetlands doesn't line up with the others. That's
Of course,
okay.
it's silent.
Inland
That's
wetlands
an
is
easy one.
silent. Yep.
Yeah.
No,
So it
but
needs
the
to be
motion is, the
about.
motion would be that all alternates would be at 2 years, and those that require a change or an update or an insertion will be 2 years. Okay, I've made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Chris LeBrie. All those in favor, and Angela, if you
Call the roll.
Okay, Mr. Case.
I'm in favor.
Okay, Ms. Corbett.
Yes.
Ms. Holm.
Yes.
Ms. Jameson. No. Mr. Kimes.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Lampert.
Yes.
Miss Neville.
Yes.
Okay, good. Mr. Parlow.
Yes.
Mr. Perrette.
Yes.
Miss Willett.
Yes.
Okay, so that motion is carried.
Okay, good. Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Okay.
You didn't call me.
Who didn't I call?
Me, Chris.
Chris, I'm sorry. I am so sorry. And I do apologize.
It's okay.
Do you forgive me?
My vote is yes.
Okay, very good. Well, the motion is still carried, but the yeses have one more vote. So I'm sorry about that.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, everybody. I'm just thinking in the interest of time, and
I have
we're
a quick question. Do you mind?
Yes, of course. Yes.
So, just as a matter of protocol and process, now that we've made these votes, shall the owners of those articles go back then and re-up them and resend them to you?
Well, we do one of two things. Yes, thank you. We can do that, or it's already in the document. And so if you could kindly just send me whatever changes that we just agreed to, we can just go in. We're going to go through each of those articles anyway and say, oh, just, Kathleen, remember, we've got to put 2 years here for inland wetlands. So it could go either way. You can either send it to me from the groups, or we can update it as we go through each article, because I want everybody to vote on each article. Okay.
Right. All right.
Okay. All right. Let me just make use of the time we have before us. We just dealt with length of terms. We've got term limits. And Jennifer, you've taken the lead on that. And then the only other item is minority representation and bare majority. And I'm just wondering if we have a bill. Let's do term limits. We started that conversation very briefly. Let's do that, and then hopefully that, I don't know, that won't take up too much time, and then we can just start the discussion. And it's not going to be for a vote on minority representation versus bare majority. There's still more discussion and work that needs to be done there. But maybe we'll get through enough on term limits to possibly have a vote. Let's see where we can go there. Jennifer?
Sure. So in the bottom half of the document post down near the chart, I did some research, and I think thanks to also Steve Case too, who had also done some research on this with the CCM. So I included those materials in this one document, and if you're looking at it.
Did you post that to the packet?
Yeah, so the grid that you have is also, if you scroll down on that, bullet number 2 was term limit research.
Yeah, and I just confirming, I know you sent that by email, but did you also send it to the public packet?
No, I will, I guess. I thought it was. I thought it had been there prior, but
I think it is in a previous one, but maybe we can also, so the public can take a look at that.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay, so I think there was questions around the legality of term limits for municipal officials, if you recall. We had a brief conversation about this, and there was mixed input and varying opinion from a couple of attorneys as well as the OLR office, right? So in 2001 of February, they wrote a report about if towns could impose term limits on municipal officials. Essentially, even today, I actually did a little legal research. It is still very silent. There are no, from what I could find, and probably Ira could help in this section, definitive court cases where there had been challenges that were substantive. There was one brief one, ironically, in New Canaan on the Board of Ed that came up. But other than that, it was not on point.
Right. And just Jennifer, if I can just interject for just a second, reminder to all of us, recall, we've had this discussion. We did have legal counsel weigh in here, and it was clear that for this topic as it is today.
I was about to get to elected versus appointed.
Thank you. Okay. Because I think we can take the elected off the table and just talk about term limits for appointed.
Right.
Just to save us some time. Yep.
Okay. So then essentially, so what I think we believed, and so what I wanted to say was the law treated it as both appointed and elected as the same. There was mixed opinions. There was some stuff from Robinson, I believe it's not Robinson and Cole, the other law firm. And there was also some research done. There was also some opinions from Steve, another attorney, who was very anti-term limit. Then subsequently what I did was, if you'll see in bullet point number 3, I did research on the Supreme Court or appellate court divisions invalidating term limits too. So you don't want to set something invalidate it. But I did find in the Middletown Charter Revision Commission that they actually went out and created a term limit.
Okay, you're still talking about elected though, right? That was elected.
For elected municipal, yes.
Yeah. As again, we've had this discussion. We've taken elected off the table in terms of term limits. We just want to talk about appointed.
Right. So then I went to various towns, which was section 4 of my document. And there is a term limit for appointed officials in Wilton. So that language I have provided you with and highlighted the relevant sections to give you focus. And what it basically reads is the term of each official listed, which is the officials listed in section 35, which are the appointed officials, shall be 2 years until a successor is taken office. And then there was no appointed board, which is C-37. no member of an appointed board or committee shall serve more than 10 consecutive years on such board or committee. Yep. And they actually do have some term limits on other appointed officials. Then I also went to the Wilton elected officials, which you didn't want. And then I did the town of Fairfield, which has an appointed section. And that says that no person shall be appointed to more than 2 successive full terms on the same permanent appointed board or commission, but that such person shall be eligible for reappointment after an interval of not less than 1 year, except as otherwise provided by ordinance. So the town of Fairfield probably provides the most applicable sort of relationship to what we're discussing. So just to recap, it's 2 successive full terms. You come off, you wait 1 year in Fairfield, and then you could be put back on. Okay?
Yeah. Okay, that's the research that Jennifer's done from two Fairfield County. Was there other Fairfield County in our district that I think there are more, but we ourselves have one body, as everyone knows, the audit committee is a 3-term term limit. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but we'll look at that language. I don't know if there's any specific language to say you can roll off after after serving 3 terms, you've reached your limit, but that you can come back after a certain term. Does anybody recall that?
Yeah, I do.
Is it in there though, in the charter?
I didn't hear it. I don't know which we're referring to.
Audit.
Yeah.
The only one we have, audit.
That was the one, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we do have something like that, so it does exist in our town, but it's 3-year terms, and I don't think it has any comments about coming back on after a period of time, right? No, I don't think so. So that might be missing. So, Chris, you had a comment.
No, so the roll-off idea is, makes a lot of sense in the sense that somebody reaches the end of their term limit, then they roll off for a period and come back. But that creates a problem for the alternate because when that person rolls off, the alternate, the next eligible alternate should have the right to step in as a full member, which means that the reappointment after a year of a hiatus would have to be as an alternate and start all over again.
Start at the bottom of the. Yes, I agree.
That's just an observation, but I think that's the reality of it.
Good point. And that's in the case of where we do have alternates. We don't have alternates on all boards and commissions, but yes, point taken. Somebody else had their hand up and now I lost it. Steve.
Somebody else must have been there first. I just put it up. But I was going to say, I've been a part of a couple of boards where I was reappointed, and the only way you were accepted from the requirement to roll off was if you were appointed chairman. And I thought that made a lot of sense. And I actually went through that one time, that I was appointed chairman to a board of governors at the college, and therefore I wasn't subject to the roll-off provision, whereas others were.
At the time, you meant?
Yes.
You mean at the time? Okay. But after you finished as chair, then you rolled off?
I rolled off entirely, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Understood. Yeah, similar experience. I have to say, the other piece of data that I think we need to do is to look at our existing members who serve and just how many years are people serving. Because if you introduce, say, and I'll say a 5 terms, 15 years, not to exceed 15 years. How many people would actually, and maybe we'd have to do a grandfather where, look, it's not going to affect you until you roll off of your next term. But how many people actually, and I don't know the answer to this, actually have served more than 5 terms or 15 years, whatever, because some terms are, again, appointed only. Does anybody have any idea? Okay. Worth looking into. Yeah, go ahead, Angela.
Well, I don't have actual data, but I can name a few folks that have been on boards longer than
Let's
50.
not do that. You could just give
Okay.
me a number, general number. I don't
Okay,
I
but
don't want to embarrass anybody.
actually,
Yeah.
I think it would be a good idea to get the data
Yeah,
because
let's get the
I
data.
suspect what we might see is that there's a nice diversity of length of time that individuals have been on boards and commissions. So you've got people who are complete newbies, and then you've got people who've got a lot of experience. And
Yeah.
let's see what kind of problem it is that we're trying to solve here.
Yeah. Understood. Agreed. Bill.
Two things. One, I'd like clarification if you have an alternate from a single party, and how do they get seated if someone steps off? I mean, if that's clear, it's fine, but I'm not clear on that. And then if we're going to be gathering more information, I'd like to understand, maybe just with the standing constituency, how many years someone has served in government.
Yeah.
And because, I think that while it's great to have all these different terms, I sort of have a sense, I could be wrong, I haven't looked at the data, that we sort of have a lot of the same people in government for a long, long, long time. And I would like to get more younger people in. Our town is becoming younger, and, nothing wrong with young people.
If they're interested, we want them for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely, but they have to be interested. And we're going to take that up on another date. We've got 2 meetings next week as well. But the whole process, I think, needs to be reviewed and recommended. And that's not going to be a charter change per se, possibly maybe, but it's going to be certainly a recommendation that we're going to be making. So
On the alternates, though, does it matter? Democratic, Republican, Independent? I know that when I was on the audit committee, when I was chair of the audit committee, a Republican, couldn't show up to the meeting, and I seated. We only had 3 at the time. We were all males, and I seated the female because I just thought that was good for balance. And I was told that that person wasn't in the same party. I shouldn't be doing that. And I just, whatever the rules are, it's fine.
Yeah.
We should clarify about that.
I think there is state statute that says, if there's a vacancy, you have to fill it with a person of the same party. That is a state statute. If someone if it's really not a vacancy, but there's now an open position because someone has left and the term was over and they just didn't finish it, it's not necessary that you have to fill that spot with the same party. It's just you have to follow the minority representation rules. But vacancies, yes, if you're filling in a term, that has to match the party. So, and Ira, if I had that wrong, correct me. Okay. Does somebody,
Right.
first Jennifer, then, yep, Jennifer, you're next.
I was trying to respond.
Oh, Ira, sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I said that's correct. A vacancy, you have to replace the same party.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay, Jennifer, go ahead.
I'll take the takeaway to go get the current seated people and how long they've been in those positions from the town clerk. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, great. Angela. Oh, sorry.
So
Go ahead.
I hear what Bill is saying. I think what he was referring to was not a situation where somebody had resigned from the audit committee, say, but hadn't turned up to a meeting, couldn't make a meeting, so you had to seat an alternate. And so, in fact, for some of these boards and commissions, it says in the ordinance or even in the charter that there needs to be a rotation. And you need and the chair needs to appoint an alternate on a rotating basis. So it doesn't matter if the person who's not at the meeting is a Democrat. If the next alternate who had to be seated under the rotation is a Republican, that's what you're supposed to do.
As long as you don't overcharge the minority representation, as long as you don't have more, like 8 out of 9 people are now Republican.
Well, actually, yeah. That's a very good point, and maybe that needs to be clarified in town charter / ordinances, because that's not what it doesn't say that. And it makes it very clear that chairs are supposed to keep a careful eye on
Yeah.
the rotation.
Because of that issue, a minority representation. Okay.
No, not because of minority representation, but because, you know, everybody who's an alternate should get the chance to be seated when there is when someone, a regular member is not available.
But that might not work because the rule is by party. So, I mean, if it's always one party person who's absent, that you're going to be putting the alternates from that party on, and the other ones are not going to get on. So it's not a strict rotation where everybody gets the turn.
Right. I believe you can void a vote if the proper balance is not there on the part of the parties.
Correct. That is correct. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Can I ask a question?
Yes. Sorry. Who's raising their hand?
I'm sorry, I hit the wrong button.
No, Joe. Sorry. Go ahead.
If a person we have three alternates on most of these committees. If a person was the second member of the party, then they would almost not be called on because there would be someone in the queue ahead of them. But the other party, where there's only one alternate, would be called a lot. So would we be wiser to increase the alternates from 3 to 4? That way there's the same balance for both parties.
Okay. I have a response, but go ahead, Chris, you have your hand up.
Yeah. On the majority party where there's 2 alternates, the chair toggles back between the 2 to make sure that they get some representation. So it's not always the senior member. It can be the junior member to give them some experience on the board.
That's the whole concept of rotation is applicable there. Yeah.
That's helpful. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to be, so I'm guessing that are we ready? I don't know if it doesn't sound like we're ready to have a vote on term limits. What are your thoughts? Can I get a consensus here? Judy?
I just have a thought because we started down this road and it's not incorporated in this discussion tonight.
Yeah.
Is rotating chairman separate from this issue, or has that been eliminated?
Nothing's been eliminated.
Well, I'm just asking, is that still part of this discussion? Or, I mean, it's obviously separate from appointed people, but is that still in play? Are we looking?
I think when we talk about good question. And I think when we go through each commission, it might be different. I'm thinking
it might be, yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
Right. Karen's nodding there. So in terms of the appointment of the chairman, it's done on an annual basis. And is it in all cases, is it done? It's by the vote of the body. Is that correct, Karen? Yeah. Okay. And so you're asking, Judy, should there be a term limit as there is in Board of Ed for the chairman's role?
Or at least alternating chairman, not permanently. Like if they've already served 3 years, that's not enough. But can they come back? Of course they can. But is it a permanent? In other words, is it 4 years, 8 years? This was brought up. What night?
I think you can address this as a totally, because they'll still, like if you have a board with term limits, those will still apply regardless of the chairmanship rules. So they can really be addressed as 2 separate discussions, I think.
But
because,
it's not.
And when I say term limits, I mean term limits to be on the board. That's one discussion. Term limit for being the chair of a board can be a totally separate discussion. I don't think there's any conflict between those 2 discussions.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Well, why don't we take that up when we go through each of the articles?
Mm-hmm.
And if we find that there's a consistency there where we want to perhaps suggest some sort of rotation or term limit on the chairman, we can do a blanket one, or we can do it or not do it at all. But we can take that up as we go through each article. Okay. Is that okay, Judy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah,
I'm just questioning whether it's not tonight, but I'm just,
no,
if it's been off the table by now.
No, nothing's off
All
the
right.
table. Okay, Steve. Did you want something else? Yeah.
No, yes, I just wanted to go back to your earlier comment about are we ready to vote? And I think we were waiting to see how many people would be affected
Yeah.
if we said X, Y, Z. So I don't think we're ready.
Yeah.
But I did want to entertain the discussion of the order of magnitude. And I was going to say, just as a straw man, I would say something on the order of three, if we do impose term limits, something on the order of 3 consecutive terms, unless you're elected chairman, when it would be 4 consecutive terms, would be where my over under would be, because I think this is subjective. And there could easily be people on either side of that. But I just wanted to put that up during this phase of the discussion as to where an over under might be on this.
Okay. I'll raise my hand and offer. I don't think I'm in favor of term limits. But if they were to be imposed, I'd be on the other side of that in terms of the length. It's going to be hard, I think, to swallow. And I would suggest that would be closer to 4. I would be on the 4 terms, and certainly, and one of the reasons for that is that, and we I think this came up in the P&Z discussion, that remember, POCD is every 10 years, and you don't want to get into a situation where somebody doesn't have that opportunity to participate in the POCD, which is an important part of what they do, among other things. And so if we went to at least 4, that would put them at a 12-year max before rolling off. And I'd be happy with 4 or 5 even, especially on a 3-year term board. But I know I'm probably in the minority on that, but that's the side I lean on, either not having them or making it pretty long. Joe?
I think in terms of term limits, we should have a rationale. It will be ultimately subjective, but we should apply some rationale. And the rationale that I've looked up is that corporate CEOs, their tenures have been dropping now. This is reported by the Harvard Business Review. And the reason for that is that you need people with new perspectives as we're in a fast-moving digital age. So people's experiences become antiquated. I'll put myself up to some degree, and I think others might want to nominate themselves as one goes on. Things just move by technologically and internationally. We should apply a rationale. And
I took your point, and it is true that, however, a CEO is generally working, Bill, 20 hours a day, and so they're a little bit more worn out after 3 to 5 years than perhaps somebody serving as a commissioner on any board or commission. It doesn't take that much out of you, as it does doing a full-time CEO. Hence the decline in service. So point taken. I don't know if it's applicable though. Jennifer, you're next.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in favor of 2 terms, and then you come off, and here's why. I do think we've seen a huge acceleration somewhat going to Joe's point about what the town has done and changed. And we've seen a huge input from unaffiliateds and others and all of that change. And I do think the skill sets that we need are becoming faster and faster, much more needed sooner. So I think you take things like 830G as an example. For instance, I thought what was really wonderful when I did the research about their planning and zoning people who were elected, they actually have found an expert who's written a 30-page paper. She's a lawyer, etc. So I do think there needs to be a balance to be able to recruit new talent when new things are coming to these boards where we're getting new challenges. And I think that's for conservation, police. These things have sort of accelerated faster than people could imagine. Yeah.
And that's why we do have terms, length of terms, and that's where we do bring on new talent. But we also don't want to say goodbye to folks that have been spending a lot of time in these things too. It is a balance. So next is Bill. Joe, you still have your hand up, or?
No, I do. I think, I'm sorry, whether you've got short or long, Kathleen, whether 5 3-year terms is the right thing or whatever. For me, it's got to be hard to ask people that are on a committee that aren't performing to step off the committee. And
Not
So
really.
what I would rather do, my personal, since everybody's talking about their personal thing, is, maybe it's 2 6-year terms, 3 6-year term, but then give the person, particularly the ones that are performing, an opportunity to move on other committees. And I've
Yeah.
always been a real proponent of, of cross functionalization. So skill sets that are on one can move on to another. That's not always the case. So I wouldn't limit a person's service to the government, but I might
Right.
limit the amount of time on a particular committee.
Well, you're a good example of that. So yeah. Angela. And you're on mute. You're on mute.
I would just make the point that there are some boards or commissions where there is a really steep learning curve, and it can take a number of years before you have enough expertise, really, even to ask questions, let alone to make an argument or to make a motion. P&Z is one, Board of Finance is another. So I would hate to see a huge amount of expertise just having to leave these boards and commissions because we've imposed a number through a term limit. And I also want to make the point, it is actually very difficult to recruit residents to serve on appointed boards and commissions. We can certainly do what we can to try and make it an easier, more welcoming selection process. For example, by posting openings on the website. But it isn't easy to persuade people to give up their time to serve on these boards and committees. A lot of people, they're just very busy with their job and raising their families.
Good. Okay. I don't see any other hands up. So let me pause as we come upon the 6:30 mark and just talk about the agenda for next Tuesday and next Wednesday. First, let me just get your opinion on this. Somebody asked about this. So we had Tuesday in person, like we always do, and it's open to the public, etc. And are the Zoom as well. And then I wanted the alternate to be the Zoom. And I'll tell you why. I get to see each one of your hands and faces and reactions and so forth. And this was easier for me. People get to go to dinner now, right? So next week I was planning on using the same thing, in person on Tuesday, Zoom on Wednesday. Anybody have any objection to that? Yes, Todd. Sorry, Todd first.
I don't know if it impacts anybody except me, but Passover is next Wednesday.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that.
So,
okay.
And it may not impact anybody else, but I know.
Okay. I should have been mindful of that. Forgive me. Okay. Let's take a look. Okay.
I feel the same way on that.
Yeah. Okay. Same way on the holiday. Yeah. Okay. Very good. Thank you, Jennifer.
I think, today some of us wanted to at least be in the same room Yeah. And I realized Tucker informed me that this is Zoom only, so we couldn't. I do find it easier, and I think we do move more collaboratively in a sense in the same room. We can have broader discussions, etc. So I would prefer to do each of the meetings hybrid.
Well, we'll try to do that. I know for some reason this week and next week, I think it's because town council budget, the rooms were crazy, but we'll make the best of it. And I'll see whether or not we can do an alternate on instead of Wednesday. But try our best. Is earlier better, Todd, for you? Or if we were able to make the time early, I haven't checked with everybody.
Yeah, if it was from 3 to 5 o'clock, I can make it.
Okay. Is that okay for anybody else out there? 3 to 5 o'clock on Wednesday in person? If I have the space. I mean, there's a lot of ifs.
Yeah, I might be able to attend. If we do it as early as 3, I might be able to attend by Zoom.
Not sure. Zoom is fine. So we can do a hybrid.
I'm not sure. I might be a no attend.
Okay. Well, I'll come out to you individually.
Probably will be a no attend because I'm up in stores midday.
Okay. All right, I'll go around
What?
to each of you and find where we can get the maximum time. I will say that I feel that people don't talk over each other as much when we do Zoom. So there's that benefit, and maybe that's just me saying it. But I being able to see each of you and everybody's politely raising their hand, which I also love. So, okay, for next week then, in terms of charter, we're going to remove some of the ones that are currently on here. I'd like to, because I've been patiently waiting for the rest of the articles to arrive, and I understand that group 3, you're going to be sending me a whole bunch of them. Is that right? So,
Yeah, I'll send them probably
Yeah.
first thing in the morning.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, great. Well,
Pretty much
that'll-
all of them except for town attorney.
Okay, so okay, thanks, Steve. I got you know. So I would say that next week can be used to start knocking off. We'll go through Article 1, 2, 3, etc., and we should be able to hopefully go through those pretty quickly, and have votes on those. We'll also take up. I want to do the Board of Finance, elected versus appointed or remain appointed. And then town clerk, town treasurer. We'll finish up term limits. And we're also going to have minority representation, bare majority. What was the other thing that we said? It's not on the agenda, but we started talking about it. Was that ZBA and inland wetlands for discussion? We brought that up, Jennifer. That might have been you. We brought that up and said, wait a minute, we can't talk about that because it's not on the agenda.
And whether it's elected or not, which Chris had
Yeah, I
posited.
think I can speak. Yeah. So we did bring it up to be.
But I just want to say it's going to be, we'll put that on the calendar.
Okay, and there might be other, I don't know if others
Send me
have-
your list of things that
Send
we
the
can
list,
think of. Yeah, of
For
things that we got. Okay, Angela, yes, making
Yeah,
a
so
motion.
the presentation that I put in the public packet, it's two parts, and I think
Yeah.
they're related, but they can be looked at separately. One is minority representation, and
Yep.
the other is the role of the Board of Selectmen in the appointment process.
Yeah.
I would say we should discuss that when we discuss Article 3, because I think that's where it sits, and we do have some edits to that in relation to a change to the appointment process.
Okay, great. Because I mean, some of this may actually be more for an ordinance or a policy declaration.
I agree, but it's in there, and unless we want to take it out like we have these other special things, I think, I guess it's just a question. Do you want to discuss it as part of the article, or do you want to take all these things out and discuss them as a separate thing? And
globally.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll discuss. We'll think that.
I mean, that's not a global one. It's only going to be in one article. The appointment process is the appointment process, right? So it's not a global issue. That's
You
the
can
only
reach
place we
out to me.
discuss it.
You can reach out to me and make your suggestions for agenda. I will never get to all of the ones we suggested, but I want it. We have 2 days next week, and we'll make some modification to the time on Wednesday. Also hybrid, but I have to know that there's space available to us. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I move adjournment.
Angela, second. Judy, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. Good discussion. I appreciate it. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.